High-tech combat aircraft, which appeared in the 1980s, have revolutionized air warfare. These were not simply aircraft which could fly a little higher or a little faster than before, but embraced completely new concepts involving extensive use of new materials and computerization of everything, from flight itself to target acquisition and fire control to navigation and mission management. We have gone from Star Wars almost to Star Trek in less than a decade. These are American pilots dogfighting MiGs and evading Scuds during Desert Storm. Fighters like the American McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle, the Russian Sukhoi Su-27 Flanker, and the French Dassault Mirage 2000 are equally at home outmaneuvering more conventional aircraft or delivering ordnance with pinpoint accuracy. But even these combat-tested performers will be eclipsed by the amazing machines which will enter service over the next decade. As Al Jolson reminded us in the late 20s, we ain't seen nothing yet. He was talking about movie technology. But he could just as well have been describing technological change in combat airplanes towards the end of the 20th century. Aircraft like the American F-22, the French Rafale, the Swedish Gripen, and the multinational Eurofighter 2000 will offer unbelievable agility with incredible technical sophistication, incorporating the latest smart weapons, cockpit designs, and stealth technology in a package which would have seemed pure science fiction only a generation ago. The fighter interceptor has been one of the driving forces in aircraft development. Constantly striving for that extra knot of speed, a faster rate of climb, an ever-tightening turning circle, has pushed fighter design right to the boundaries of the possible. High agility, the key to success in aerial combat in the 1990s, is largely the result of computer advances. But it is also true that today's fighters are increasingly built with composite materials that are lighter and stronger than ever before. Aside from the breakthrough in agility, the new Superfighters can also fight more effectively at great distances. Most can begin an aerial duel from well beyond visual range, detecting targets with advanced multifunction radars and engaging with reliable fire-and-forget missiles. They can engage targets flying at low level, being able to weed out unwanted reflections from the ground while locking onto a fast-flying target with uncanny precision. The West's superfighter for over 20 years has been the McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle. This has been the fighter which set the standard until very recently. The Eagle was developed at the end of the 1960s to replace the famous F-4 Phantom, which at that time was wresting control of the skies in Vietnam. The Eagle carried basically the same armament as the Phantom, but introduced vastly superior levels of power, maneuverability, and avionics. primary short-range weapon remains the infrared heat-seeking missile. The Eagle carries 4 AIM-9 Sidewinders. This type has been around for over 40 years. Modern versions like the Lima and the Mike, however, are incredibly sensitive and can engage from all angles while resisting enemy countermeasures such as flares. Medium or beyond visual range engagements have been transformed by the development of radar-equipped fire-and-forget missiles. The Eagle carries semi-active missiles like the AIM-9 Sparrow. The Eagle's latest weapon is the AIM-120 AMRAAM, a new fire-and-forget weapon. This means that after launch, the fighter can turn away from the engagement, and the missile, entirely on its own, will hunt down the target like a Terminator. It will not stop until it does its job. This overcomes the disadvantage of older weapons, which required the target to be illuminated by the F-15's radar, which meant that the Eagle's nose had to be pointed at the enemy throughout the whole engagement, closing very rapidly on somebody who might be shooting back. With the AMRAAM and her sisters, the Eagle can launch and immediately turn away to meet another oncoming threat, while the missile's onboard radar does the work of detecting and homing in on the first enemy aircraft. Since entering service with the U.S. Air Force in 1974, the Eagle has been exported to 3 other countries: Japan, Israel, and Saudi Arabia. On several occasions, it has proved itself in combat to be the world's undisputed master of the skies. Fast, heavily armed, and phenomenally agile, the Sukhoi Su-27 flanker has for a decade been the world's best combat fighter. The powerful flanker sets the standard today by which all current fighters are judged. Sukhoi's brief in the design of the flanker was to produce a long-range, heavily armed, and highly maneuverable fighter, able to meet the American F-15 Eagle on equal terms, while also being able to intercept low-flying NATO attack aircraft, bombers, and cruise missiles. The aircraft which entered service in the mid-1980s succeeded admirably in meeting those requirements from its earliest days. A specially modified example, the P-42, smashed all existing world records for rate of climb and range. The West's first close-up view of the Su-27 came when flankers based on the Kola Peninsula intercepted Norwegian P-3 Orions over the Arctic. But it was in 1989 that the flanker was first fully revealed to the West at the Paris Air Show. It astonished not only the general public, but defense analysts as well, with its amazing maneuvers which no Western fighter could emulate. These included the famous Pugachev Cobra and the tail slide. The Sukhoi has since added the hook, a horizontal version of the Cobra. That tail slide again, an almost revolutionary evasive maneuver. A navalized flanker, the Su-33 is in service with the Russian Naval Air Arm, the AVMF. Sukhoi chief test pilot Viktor Pugachev made the first carrier landing with the navalized Su-27K on September 1st, 1989. Around 30 Su-33s are deployed on the sole Russian aircraft carrier, the Admiral Kuznetsov. These serve primarily in the air defense role. The flanker is now the premier fighter in the Russian Air Force, as well as the air arms of the Ukraine and Belarus, and has also been exported to China. In the late 1980s, Sukhoi began development of an advanced version of the flanker. originally known as the Su-27M. It will enter service with the Russian Air Force as the Su-35. It has a number of new advanced features not found on older Su-27s. The modern glass cockpit has 3 multifunction color displays. These mark a major improvement over the traditional analog displays on the original flanker. There is also a new multi-mode radar with both air-to-air and air-to-ground capability. Up to 15 targets can be tracked at ranges in excess of 350 kilometers. And in the air-to-air mode, it can be used to engage 6 targets simultaneously. Here is another advanced version of the flanker. The Su-32FN long-range strike fighter with tandem seating. Dubbed the Platypus, it will enter service shortly. The partner to the flanker in the Russian Air Force is the Mikoyan MiG-29 Fulcrum. This airplane likewise has immense power and agility and is typical of the generation of superfighters currently in service. The MiG in various incarnations has been around since the Korean War, but the MiG-29 has about as much in common with the MiG-15 as an F-14 Tomcat does with a World War II Hellcat. The pace of aircraft design and development is accelerating. It often seems that no sooner does a new machine come off a CAD-assisted computer desktop drawing board and a prototype produced, then somebody else's machine has already rendered it obsolete. This is definitely the case with the F-14 Tomcat, which is showing its age in terms of superfighter advanced design. Once the premier carrier defense and air superiority fighter during the 1970s, its huge size and weight made it ideal as one of the first truly successful multifunction platforms. Not only could it fight air-to-air and maneuver with the best of the best, it could bomb ground targets as well. It has needed a lot of technological facelifts over the years to keep it in the ring with younger fighters. But like an aging prize fighter, its legs are starting to go, and its mission will soon be downgraded to close air support and bombing, while a younger panoply of more agile fighters like the F-16 and F-18 Hornet give it protection from above. The F-14 is due to take over the less glamorous role of the A-6 Intruder as a ground attack platform. The Intruder itself has been retired from active service. Another airplane in the Tomcat's position is the Mirage 2000. An older design, first flown in the 1970s, it too has been to the technological plastic surgeon in order to appear younger and more fit. The delta wing design is inherently unstable. Canard foreplanes help in this regard, and coupled with fly-by-wire computerization, make the problem disappear. This is the configuration of all state-of-the-art fighter aircraft today. This Mirage 2005 has been fitted with fly-by-wire, new heads-up display, and other nips and tucks, but she carries no foreplanes to speak of. But, like the Tomcat, will still be on the card, just not a contender for the main event championship. But the Mirage can still cut the mustard. Here it is, slathering some on this Iraqi hot dog. Pan Avia Tornado is currently the most advanced military aircraft in Europe. Designed as a premier ground attack and electronic combat recon platform, it can go in low and slow or low and fast, taking out ground defenses along the way with a sophisticated array of laser-guided missiles and bombs, all guaranteed to strike home every time. It's fast enough and highly agile, so much so that of all aircraft designed to fill this particular role, the Tornado doesn't really need fighter cover going in. A joint production of England and Germany as major partners, with Italy in the pot for 15%, the Tornado flies in all their air forces and a few others besides. A veteran of the Gulf War, the Tornado resulted from a late 60s feasibility study for such an aircraft by Belgium, Canada, the Netherlands, Germany, Italy, and the United Kingdom. The first three countries bowed out when it came time to put up or shut up. The latter three put up the cash and formed the Pan-Avia Consortium to design and build it. This airplane has aged extremely well and will serve in European air forces for the foreseeable future and well into the next century. As the world advances toward the 21st century, a whole new generation of computer-controlled machines is on the point of entering service. Three such aircraft will shortly begin flying with European air forces. All share a common delta-wing design with canard foreplanes. The first is the Eurofighter 2000. And like the earlier collaboration with Tornado, it is likewise a joint production of the Pan-Avia countries with Spain as an additional partner. The airplane features advanced aerodynamic design and engine technology. Neutral Sweden has always had a tradition of developing her own advanced combat aircraft. The latest in the breed of Saab Superfighters is also the lightest and smallest of the new European combat aircraft. It's the JAS-39 Gripen, whose advanced cockpit design features LCD color displays that allows for easy and fast assimilation of complex information by the pilot, freeing him to concentrate on his mission. The French Dassault Rafale will be one of the first of the next generation machines to become operational. The maritime version is expected to be in service aboard French carriers by the end of the 90s. This is the advanced multi-role fighter that will replace the aging Mirage 2000 design. Plans call for several different variants, including a tandem two-seater for advanced electronic countermeasures and recon. On this almost touch and go, the Rafale demonstrates a phenomenal rate of climb. The Lockheed Martin Boeing F-22 with its stealth configuration is the most capable of all new generation superfighters, but it comes at a very steep price. Technology for the next generation of U.S. superfighters has been demonstrated by several research aircraft. Two are modifications of existing highly maneuverable fighters, while the third is a specially built machine. Although not a superfighter in its own right, the XR-31 is a demonstrator for many of the technologies finding their way into the next generation of U.S. superfighters. It has canard foreplanes and a thrust vectoring nozzle. This plane stole the show at Le Bourget in 1995. The F-16 is another aged fighter, except that it wears old age better than any other ship because it was so far ahead of its time in the middle 70s when it first flew. Many of its original design features, such as wings flowing into the fuselage, were incorporated into later designs. This specially modified F-16 Vista was chosen to incorporate up-to-date state-of-the-art technologies to see if its already considerable capabilities could be improved enough to keep it current with the best of the new designs currently coming off the boards and into production. The specially modified Vista's specific role, beyond that already mentioned, is to test the airframe's maneuverability at high angles of attack. This F-18 Hornet has been given similar modifications and a similar role in superfighter research. Like the XR-31, it also has vectored nozzles to help the rudder kick the tail around fast in evasive maneuvers, and to turn on a dime and hand the enemy a considerable amount of change. The Hornet, along with the F-16, is for the present the American fighter aircraft mainstay and our first line of defense. The missions of the superfighter remain much the same as they were 50 years ago: to defeat an enemy in battle and to seize control of the skies. At its simplest, the task of the fighter is to win control of the air through aerial combat.